Hello, everyone, and welcome back to AmourologyEd, where we do sex and alternative lifestyle education. My name is Krista. I am your host. If you don't know me, I use she, her, or they, them pronouns. I bring a feminist, disabled, queer, kink, non-monogamous, relationship anarchist, and all-around shameless approach to my education and coaching. Today, we're going to be talking about masturbation for trans bodies. So, there are clitorises that look like penises and penises that look like clitorises and everywhere in between. So, we're going to be talking about some techniques to use to deal with dysphoria, and we're going to be talking about some techniques just for pleasure for different body types and different wherever you are at in that process. Given that, don't forget that there is a podcast version of this available at AmourologyEd, wherever podcasts are found. So if podcasts are more your style or more your jam, then please check that out. You can listen to those. 2 weeks from now, I'm going to start releasing what I'm going to call quickies. So I am going to release kind of dissected down versions of previously covered content, but they're going to be 3 to 5 minutes of very specific topics. And then you can refer back to the larger videos for more information. I just feel like my videos are getting too long, so I'm going to deal with that by doing this. This, however, will not work with podcasts. So what I'm going to do for podcasts and podcasts only is what I'm going to call a QQ, and a quickie and a question. So for that, I need questions from people. If you have a question about relationships, about queer topics, about alternative lifestyles, about anything, then about sex, whatever, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Krista at AmourologyEd.net. It's Krista at AmourologyEd.net. I'm going to assume you want to remain anonymous unless you specifically tell me it's okay to use your name. So if that's something you want, please feel free to add that into the email, whatever. It could be a hypothetical question. It could be a real question. It could be a series of questions, whatever you want to do. But I need questions in order to be able to do this. So this is where you come in and your audience participation. With that, since we're covering trans bodies today, I'm going to just plug one of my merchandise items here. So this is a sticker, a weatherproof vinyl sticker. It can go on your car, water bottle, whatever. It says, I support trans rights, and it has the trans kind of symbol in the background. It can come in multiple of colors, whatever color you want. It can come in glitter colors, iridescent colors, whatever. Check it out. You can find it on my website at AmourologyEd.net, or you can find it on Etsy at AmourologyEd. Okay, let's get on with it. Quick reminder, go back and listen to or watch part 1 of this topic, because I go over terminology that is really important for this episode, plus you might learn something. We're going to take the next little while to talk about some general techniques for masturbating for trans bodies, regardless of the parts you have, and then we'll go into kind of more specific for the parts that you have. So, general tip number 1, you don't have to be naked. Being naked can sometimes trigger that dysphoria for some people. So you can wear briefs or boxers or panties, whatever you have to. You can get under a blanket. You can take a bubble bath. You can do all sorts of things to cover those parts while you're touching yourself if you don't want to see that and it triggers that dysphoria for you. 2, explore anal. Go back and watch my anal video. Explore some of those things. 3, treat your parts like you want them to be treated, i.e. treat your clitoris as a clitoris. Treat your penis as a penis. We're going to go over some techniques more in depth coming up for that. Toys. If the act of touching yourself is what makes you uncomfortable, you don't even have to. You can use toys to kind of get past that threshold a little bit. So with this, feel free to use toys designed for one type of genital, and feel free to use them the way that they were designed. But you don't have to, too. Get creative with this. For instance, a Hitachi, the magic wand, can be used to stimulate the frenulum of your clitoris if you want to do that. So get creative with it. There are some toy stores that identify as trans-friendly, feminist, or queer, and may be the best option for going out and buying trans-friendly toys. You can also scour the internet. There are lots of things out there. When in doubt, just get creative with what you're doing. Like, I've seen stories on the internet that are talking about, like, using a water bottle full of water to create suction. Like, get creative with whatever you're doing and find something that works for you that helps with that dysphoria. All right, let's get part specific. So for parts that look like vaginas, maybe consider a strap-on that you can feel through. Yes, such a thing exists. Try that. If you do find a penis replacement that works for you, you can even, with this, eventually get to be able to use masturbatory toys like a fleshlight and vibrating rings and whatever. Explore different techniques for you. Remember, lube, 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 lube. If you're somebody that is on hormones and your penis has grown a little bit, great. Search the internet for things like small cock sleeves or small cock rings, and you can find those things and they can be really, really fun to use. You can always imitate cis techniques. So go back and watch my penis video. Take some of those techniques. Maybe instead of your hands, like, you're using your fingers, and that's totally fine. See what works for you, but feel free to play with some of those cis techniques that I talked about. Also, don't forget some of the fun stuff like switching your hand up occasionally. That can be great. And don't forget that stimulating that perineum, the anus, and the penis all at the same time can have incredible results. Get your toys involved too for that. Get your toys involved. For parts that look like penises, remember that there are so many things that you can do with both a soft and a hard clitoris. So we're going to go over kind of some of those techniques here coming up. So let's talk about muffing. So muffing is a term used to describe penetration of the inguinal canal. The inguinal canal is a passage from which the testicles descend from the abdomen. This is also the area that the testicles are pushed into when a trans woman tucks. Fun fact, female-assigned people also have inguinal canals, but they're much smaller. Nerves in the inguinal canal can be very sensitive, and it's important to move slowly when you're doing this and really carefully when you're doing this to make sure that penetration isn't harmful or painful in any given way. But this can be a really powerful tool for trans women to feel penetrated from the front without having to undergo surgery. So if you're watching the video, here is a diagram of muffing. So we have external parts here that look like a penis. Do I have it upside down? No, I don't. Okay. External parts here that look like a penis. And you can see these kind of areas off to the side that on the things that look like testicles, on the parts that look like testicles, that are kind of to each, on the side of each testicle. And here we can show that we have the finger kind of pushing up into that area. The thing on the bottom here is just kind of another technique. You can pull the part that looks like a testicle kind of up and use your fingers to kind of get into that area a little bit more. I will link to these pictures on the show notes if you're not watching the videos. Similar to that, you can actually use the perineum to penetrate. If you don't know what the perineum is, go back and watch my anal video. I explain it all there. But using your fingers or the palm or the heel of your hand to kind of explore pressure in that area and really push into that area to penetrate that area can be really, really nice as well. Don't forget to try the techniques mentioned in the clitoris video. So you can use all of this on the tip of your clitoris. So circles, flicking, pressures, the V technique, whatever. Go back and watch that video. Be careful because it is easy to overdo those techniques for this. There's another technique called the softball technique. And if you're watching the videos, I have just a picture of it here. If you're not, don't worry about it. But what you're going to do is you're going to kind of take your hand and collect everything up into your hand. And then in the picture, you can see that there is just the tip of the part that looks like a penis poking out between your forefinger and your middle finger. So you're kind of collecting everything in the palm of your hand, and then that tip is poking out, and this is the head of your clitoris. So this is especially useful to kind of remind yourself to treat that area as a clitoris and can help with some of that gender dysphoria as well. This is also particularly useful if you have a partner that is, for instance, doing oral sex on you and you want that area treated like a clitoris as well. Don't forget the power of humping random objects. I mean, not random objects everywhere you go, but like, say your bed or a pillow or something. So you're stimulating the whole of that genitalia at the same time. And again, remember that stimulating the perineum, the anus, and the clit all at the same time can be incredible, and get those toys involved. I'm going to just close with a quote here, and this is from Anna Valland in a blog where she writes, "Trans sex. Masturbation is tough for trans women. I know firsthand." What she says here is, the more trans women I spoke to on and off the record, the more I realized what I was doing wrong. I wasn't experimenting with my body. I wasn't listening to the sensations running through my arms and chest when I lightly graced them. I thought I knew how to touch myself, and I tried to do it by force. What I needed to do was relinquish control, play with my breasts and nipples gently, and listen to the signs my body was giving me while playing with myself. I just think that this is so powerful because it really does just bring to light the idea that you can't force this. You have to find what works for yourself at any given moment. And I can give you tools and techniques and tricks, but really find what works for you and be open and honest with yourself about that, and be kind to yourself about that. Okay, that is all I have for today. As always, you can find me at AmourologyEd.net. You can find me at AmourologyEd on all social media. You can join my Facebook group at AmourologyEd, where we have all sorts of fun discussions and extra little stuff. You can join my Patreon. I have Patreon as little as $1 a month. All of the tiers come with perks. You can find that at Patreon/AmourologyEd. If you would like a coaching session, a private session, get some questions answered, whatever, email me at Krista@AmourologyEd.net. It's Krista@AmourologyEd.net. You can like and subscribe. You can tell a friend. All that great stuff. All of that is very much appreciated. So thank you so much. We will see you next week. And don't forget to submit your questions.